Hello guys, and it is very symbolic that huge explosions have just destroyed a chemical factory that produces explosives for the Russian army in Bashkortostan, and that is 1,000 and more kilometers away from the Ukrainian border. I decided to read a little bit more about this factory, Avangard, and it tells a lot about the modern life inside the Russian Federation. First of all, its head previously was arrested for corruption. Second, it's located far from the Kremlin in the Russian Ria that was once considered to be very safe. But now with long-range Ukrainian drones, we can demilitarize Russia even far from its border with Ukraine. And that's important. That's one of the reasons why we need Tomahawk and Taurus missiles. And I hope that after 2 more weeks, after more conversations, we will get this opportunity. But we also have our Ukrainian plans, and that is to keep working on our weapons too. Plus, these days, Russians are also super effective at demilitarizing themselves. For example, today they downed their own fighter jet Su-30M in Crimea during the visit of the Ukrainian drones. They were desperate because, their air defense is failing, so they send jets and now they destroy their own jets. So let's discuss what is happening as Russia is burning. War is back home where it belongs. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of the Russian Federation and Putin in The Hague, not in the Budapest meeting, so subscribe and please share these videos to spread the truth. I love reading more about news, like to discover more about the sites demilitarized by Ukrainian drones, Ukrainian missiles, to understand a bigger picture and a strategy. And we clearly see that our main task is not to frighten, not to demonstrate violence, even though after this violence that Russia demonstrated with their full-scale invasion, it seemed like we have all the rights. But I'm very proud that we remain very humane and we target only legitimate sites like this chemical plant that produced explosives for Russian weapons, for Russian missile systems. And it was a part of Rostech, that is a state corporation for defense. That's how they name the state corporation for attack in Russia. Russia is an extremely Orwellian society. Many of you often remind me about the book 1984, and it's again very symbolic because I was born in 1984, so I don't want to associate myself with Orwell stories. But when you listen to how Russia describes their invasion as defense, their Ministry of Attack as Ministry of Defense, and the same factories that produce explosives that they later use to destroy Ukrainian schools, they also describe as defense sites. In reality, that is a huge chemical plant working for the Russian military. It was located deep inside the Russian Ria. Bashkortostan is not Russia. You have to understand that Russia is just one of many national republics inside the Russian Federation. And I keep repeating it because I'm really happy to read your comments when you say you were surprised to discover that in the forest of Russia, in Sakha, in Bashkortostan, in Altai, live totally different nations. They are not classical Muscovites, the ones that you know from books and films and classical propaganda images. These people may have totally different languages, religions, look very differently, and in the 90s, they tried to become independent but failed because they have rich lands, they have natural resources, and the Kremlin oligarchs simply didn't let them out. We were more lucky, we were closer to strong allies, that's why we succeeded. Poland and the Baltics succeeded more than Ukraine, joined the EU and NATO. And they were far away on the far east of Russia, between Russia and China, between Russia and Central Asian republics. It was more difficult for them, and Bashkortostan is one like that. They often have protests there. About ecology, because Russia uses their natural resources, not caring for the environment. But all of them are very political. In Russia, to try to organize anything, you have to hide a political purpose. So imagine how these people who are not actually Russian feel about being endangered by the Putin's regime, because he wants them to produce these explosives, to use them for this war that totally failed. He wanted blitzkrieg, he failed with his project, and now invited this war to dozens of the Russian regions and to regions of the Russian Federation that now pay for Putin's bloody dreams. And the explosion was huge. Actually, there are tons of videos and photos, and perhaps it's one of the biggest explosions ever, which means that maybe we've destroyed all of the facility and it won't be able to manufacture anything more. This means a lot of innocent lives saved, so please share these videos to spread the truth, and subscribe if you're new. Leave your comments and ideas. And what do you consider to be the most effective Ukrainian strategy? Because we clearly see that we are working on the demilitarization of Russia, and number one, we destroy their oil refineries, which leads to the destruction of the Russian economy, lots of problems in the banking sector. Largest Russian companies like Gazprom, Rosneft, Russian railroads report huge debts, speak about the need to fire people. So we observe this perfect storm already happening inside Russia, and I believe that is one of the reasons why Putin reached the White House. It's not because of his strength, but also because he's afraid of tomahawks. And I know there will be more 2 weeks and then 2 weeks, but the thing is, Putin is losing, and people around him see that. People in Bashkortostan see that. People in Belgorod see that. Oligarchs around Putin see that. And they already count Putin's failures, and I speak about that on my new channel, Anna Danilchuk. Subscribe, check it. It's a nice community of friends who love longer discussions. Feel free to join. And let me know, do you think will Ukraine get tomahawks? I hope we will sometime soon. Plus, there is a good idea to exchange Ukrainian drones, and believe me, we know how to do them, because we use them on a daily basis. No other country but Russia and China know that much as Ukraine, and Ukraine is on the side of good, on the side of free nations. So I think it's a very mutually beneficial thing to exchange our drones for your long-range missiles, be it German or be it American. And Russians are also helping Ukraine to demilitarize Russia. And today they destroyed an expensive Russian fighter jet, Su-30M. This happened in Crimea, that is under constant attacks of the Ukrainian drones, because right now the Russian army, after the annexation of this very strategically important, geographically important peninsula, are using it as a logistics hub, as a platform for attacks on Ukraine, and also it endangers Romania, Bulgaria, Turkey, and more clever people all over the world understand that if Russia is not defeated, they will continue. So every Ukrainian victory is your victory too, because you can protect your nations, your countries from problems that come out of the Kremlin without fighting. We don't have a choice. We are grateful for the support that we feel, but let's do it faster. Let's do it stronger. Once again, here in Ukraine, we know we will defeat the Kremlin. That's the only way. Plus, after 3.5 years of this war, we are more confident in our victory than before. And in 2022, we didn't agree to surrender. So now we have plans, and they are working. Just look at the Kremlin behavior, at their budget, at gasoline crisis, at oil prices, at isolation, the way Putin speaks with the president of Syria, the president of Azerbaijan as their serf. That's visible. So our task is just to do it faster, because it can help save a lot of lives, a lot of homes, and make all process more just, because evil must be punished. And trust me, it's not just for Ukraine, it's for you too. And I know you know it, but please spread the truth. Help us persuade those who doubt or those who hope. It's very far away and it won't influence them anyway. The world is too small and we feel it. And we also feel that the world is too small in a positive way, because all of you friends are invited tomorrow for our live conversation, 9 p.m. Kyiv time. So remember to join. And also follow me on Instagram, X, Blue Sky, Threads, Discord. And you will find the links in the description of this video. Same as the link to our merch shop with lots of good items that turn you into ambassadors of Ukraine and help you start conversations and remind people about the need to defeat the evil and beautiful Ukraine. Thank you so much for standing with us. Slava Ukraini!